Here we go. Welcome to Pixel Chatter number 61. Pixel Chatter number 61. All right, let's get this show on the road. G'day, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Pixel Chatter number 61. Glad to be back on the air. It's been a couple of weeks. Lots going on in my life. Keeping myself busy. Being productive. But plenty going on. How about yourselves? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're having a good time. I'm just going to bring the chat up on my phone so I can see what you're all saying. G'day. Let me have a look in the chat and see who's here. I better turn the volume down on there, otherwise I hear myself back in a delay. Sort of like when you ring a radio station, you hear people ring up, they go, turn your radio off. Sort of like that for me here. Because, I get it in the background. Who we got here? Let's have a look. G'day, Brian. Brian was first this morning, nice and early. Paul, goody, g'day. Just got back from a sunrise shoot. How was that, Paul? Hopefully it was a good sunrise. Rick, good morning. Tim McCuster, good morning from over in Florida. Sure things are starting to warm up over there for you as they cool down for us here. Tim Trim, g'day, mate. Hopefully the weather's not going too crazy up there, up north. Mike Healy, g'day. Mats, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Not sure what time it is there. Dave, Feedham, g'day, buddy. George Judkins, g'day. Susan, Bose Beaver, Netherlands over here. Christopher Stubbs, Ren from over in Perth, or that way in WA. G'day. Fantastic to see you all tuning in. Thanks so much for making it to Pixel Chatter Live. Of course, this live show is brought to you by our amazing VIPs, very important photographers. And to become a VIP, you can just go to patreon.com/on3legs, join up, and we have a private Facebook group where we have challenges and just a whole bunch of banter, really. I'm in there all the time, as are all the VIPs, so it's like an easy way to stay connected with some amazing people without having to worry about the nut jobs. I said last time, somebody said to me in one of my presentations that all the other groups, the free groups, have nut jobs in them. Well, our group, because you have to pay only a couple of bucks, or really it's less than a cup of coffee a month, and you can be in the VIP group. So head to patreon.com/on3legs. Come and join the fun. All right. So let me just make sure everything's working well. Looks like it all is, which is good. Hopefully all the audio is working well. I've got the chat now working well. Everything's good. All right. So just a reminder, if you didn't know, I'm heading back to Tasmania. And I say back to Tasmania, I've been to Tasmania several times. And as a landscape photographer, it's one of my all-time favourite places to go. And in particular, Cradle Mountain region. And there's several spots in Tassie, but Cradle Mountain is one of the most iconic spots, without a doubt. And we went there last year. Now, when I say we, it's myself and my good friend Michael Sneddick. He runs a business called Wild Nature Photo Expeditions. Photo tours, photography expeditions, tours. Can't remember now the exact name. Something like that. If you click on the link down below, it'll take you to his website. Amazing guy, and he runs these workshops all over the world, all the time. And so we're going to Tassie, and I think a lot of people underestimate these national parks, in particular Cradle Mountain. It's not easy to get into. During the day, what happens is the car park gets full and you can't drive down there. You're forced to take the shuttle, which means you've got to put all your gear on the shuttle. And some tour operators don't have the permit to drive a bus down to the parking area. We do. And it's not very easy to get, so we're pretty lucky from that perspective. So what you're assured is that we have the permit, we have a swipe card. When I say we, it's Michael that does all this hard work, not me. I'm just the photographer that loves to tag along because it's such an amazing spot. But we have a swipe card, gets us through the boom gates and down there anytime we want to any of the locations inside Cradle Mountain National Park with all the permits all done for you. So you can come along and just enjoy yourself, which is really cool. And I know there's a lot of other Cradle Mountain workshops out there, but I was chatting to another operator the other day, another person that runs or that is planning their very first workshop there, and they didn't know that they couldn't get down there during the day without a special permit and a pass. So, just be mindful of that if you are signing up for a Tassie tour. Something for you to know. But we do have 2 spots left, so we'd love to have you along as a guest. I believe one of our VIPs, because there's about 5 VIPs coming along, I believe one had a change of circumstances and had to pull out, which is a bit sad. So we might have 3 spots left. But anyway, there's not many spots left. If you want to come along, come along. Alrighty. G'day, Cy Wheeler. How are you from the UK? How's the weather going over there? Probably raining and grey. Every time I've been to the UK, that's what I get. G'day, Big Oz. Chris, how are you, buddy? And Therese, good morning. Your first time. We've got one of your images on the Image Critique Show this morning, Therese. So good to have you here. Just enjoying my cuppa this morning. Who else has got a cuppa and who's got an alcoholic beverage? I'm sure that there's one or the other going on. There's no doubt about it. Now, I am planning some local workshops. I've had several messages about doing workshops in Sydney, and I don't have a schedule because I have another business that keeps me pretty busy. It's not on the top of my priority list, and sometimes I get a bit slack. And I have had several messages about when is my next sunset workshop in Sydney. So I need to schedule some dates. I have decided I'm going to schedule the dates for the rest of the year. I'm going to try and do 2 workshops a month and rotate the different topics. So I'm going to do sunset workshops. I'm going to do night photography. I'm going to do a macro workshop, which hopefully... I've got a few locations I've been scouting out where even if there's no fungi, we can still do a bit of macro. And I haven't done a lot of macro off-camera flash work with this new D850 because it doesn't have the pop-up flash. And for those of you that know the way the Nikon creative lighting system works, you needed the pop-up flash to activate your flashes remotely. So I've got the SB900 flash, and I've just bought... Let's see if I can find it here. What did I do with it? I don't know where it is. Here it is. So I just bought this cable here, which is the SC29. I just ordered it from B&H in America. I get lots of stuff from them. They're pretty good, and they've always got stock. So that allows me to put the the flash off camera and hand hold it, and it seems to be a little bit more reliable, well, a lot more reliable than the old creative lighting system. So I'm pretty happy so far. And I took a shot of I went out the back with it just to test it out. Let me see if I can find the shot I took yesterday. I'm sure, here we go. And I found this bug on the back. This is in the VIP group, this shot. So I'll just share it with you, you'll see. Yeah, impressive. Very, very glitzy and glamoury sort of cocoons. And as you can see, beautiful coloured caterpillars. Anyway, so I want to, my goal is to try different types of macro photography and then run a macro workshop. I had to get the off-camera flash working again because I didn't think it was right if I was going to run a macro workshop and not be able to do the, demonstrate the off-camera flash sort of techniques. I use that with a Gary Fong light diffuser that I actually bought back in the days of doing weddings. And if you don't know what it is, this is it here. And it pops out, goes on top of your flash, and then I put this dome on top like so. And then I just use that and sort of hold it near my subject, and it does a great job. And using flash is a whole different kettle of fish. And, when you look at things like exposure comp in the Nikons, I don't know how the other cameras work, but in the Nikons, you can adjust your exposure comp for the flash and the background, or just the background. And so getting that black background is good. Your poor eardrums, Dave. What's going on, buddy? YouTube didn't like that pic. Really? Okay. I'd say it's got something to do with the audio. So let me check the audio. Okay. I'm just going to try and fix the audio because something happened when I changed that pic. I'm just going to do a quick test again. Now, the reason for that is okay just then, or if it was terrible. I'd love to know. It looked like it was actually still playing up. That's not going to be good. If you remember the days of Earl, so what I need to do is I need to work out how to stop this system audio capture. Why is it doing system audio capture? I don't want it to do system audio capture. Change audio. All right, I believe I've turned it off now. Let's try again. Let's try again. Sorry about this, gang. There we go. I fixed it. Oh dear. That was terrible, wasn't it? All right, cool. Yeah, the echo. Yeah. But if you remember, those that you remember, when I had one time when my computer used to crash where I was saying something and it sounded like I was saying Earl. It just reminded me of that. So hopefully it's all right now. Hopefully I've sorted it out for you. But the picture I was showing you had nothing to do with it. It was my sound settings. And the reason for that is that I was... yeah, so here's the picture, by the way, if that was upsetting you before. The reason for that was I was going to share some audio from a video clip on a web page with you guys, but I'm going to have to refrain from sharing the audio, and you're going to have to go and check it out yourself. I was worried about YouTube copyright anyway, so it doesn't bother me because it saves me having to worry about that. Because I was going to play a video that's on somebody else's web page, and hopefully was not going to get some sort of a copyright strike, because that does happen, unfortunately. Anyway, all right. So on that note, let's do that. I shared something the other day on my Facebook page. Oh, by the way, I was mentioning workshops. That's right. I was talking about workshops, and that's when we got off track because we're now talking about the fact that everything was going crazy. So I was talking about this photo here. If you want to be alerted to the workshops, head across to my website, which is here on 3legs.com. And you'll see just here on the right-hand side where it says free ebook, 10 tips to better photos. If you put your details in there, not only will you get my free ebook that I wrote several years ago on 10 tips to taking better photos. I should need to share that with you, don't I? Crikey, I'm losing the plot this morning. There we go. So you'll see on the right-hand side there on my website. So there we go, just there. You can enter your details, download the free ebook. Now, if you get the ebook and you don't want anything else after that, then just opt out. I'm okay with that. I'm cool. I've got several thousand people on my newsletter, and they'll tell you I don't spam them with stuff. I rarely send stuff out. I typically only send stuff out when I'm announcing something exciting. Maybe I'm sharing one of my videos, a review, an event coming up, or I might be even helping a fellow photographer out by promoting something that they have. Yet I do that very, very rarely. So if you want to jump onto that list, you will get notified when the workshops come out in Sydney. As I said, I'm going to be running workshops on the sunset workshops. I've also been asked to do sunrise, which I'm a bit hesitant to because I have done sunrise photo walks before, and a lot of people sleep in. Now, having said that, that'll be your loss if you pay for a workshop with me and then sleep in. But I'm a pretty easygoing guy and likely just let you come to the next one, which is, not the best thing because then you don't have any accountability to making sure you turn up. But yeah, if you want to make sure you know about those, go to my website and opt in for that ebook. That'll put you on my list, and then you'll know when things are happening. Which, yeah, it's a good way to do it. All right, let's have a quick look through the chat here. Bad audio, yeah. Lots of people going, my poor eardrums, outs, trippy remix, yeah. Wow, there's been a lot of comments. Coffee, it's almost 0000 over here. Yeah. So midnight, that means, obviously. I wouldn't be drinking coffee that night, at that time of night. But I would have a it's not unusual for me to have a cup of tea maybe at that time, like maybe 8 p.m. something like that. All right, so let me keep going here. Good reason to have coffee, yes. Ever done extreme macro bellow stuff? It's insanely interesting. No, I haven't. All my macro that I've done in the beginning when I first did macro, and I still have a lot of stock photos up on iStock. So when I, years ago, one of the things I did to try and make an income out of photography, which is very difficult, no doubt about that, is I did stock photography, and I did a lot of macro then, because back then there wasn't a lot of people doing macro on the stock sites, so I did heaps of macro, and the good thing about it was easy. You could just sit at home all day and take macro shots of things like keyboards and coins and pebbles and just all sorts of things. Didn't coffee beans, and so that's where I started my real macro journey. And I used extension tubes for a while, and then I got myself the Sigma 105mm lens, which is what I still have today, by the way. And it's a cracking lens. I have looked at the Nikon 200mm f4. I think it's an f4, might be 2.8. I think it's f4. Because I was looking for something that would get me a little bit further away from things, because sometimes, especially with things like fungi, it can be hard to get right in close. And the 105mm, you still have to be pretty close. I haven't done the bellow stuff. I can believe it would be pretty interesting. Yeah, trippy remix. That must have been when the sound was going wrong. Ouch. Oops. Yow. My poor eardrums. So Rick says, do spiders. Yes. I don't know where to find them, Rick. Where do you find them? Can you show that again? Lots of weird noise happened. Yeah, I did. We had noise, bad audio. The sound went dodgy. Still happening. Lots of noise. Okay, yep, we got through that. Crap sound. Wow, sounds like a diesel engine. That's what the worm was saying at your flash. What was he saying? Glitzy, yes. Never a dull show. No, we like to keep it going. The Outer Limits, good old Earl, yeah. Okay, now good. That's better. Red Angel. Is that what the bug is? The caterpillar? I don't know. In my garden, Ben. Oh, that's a bit of a travel for me. I'll have to have a look in my garden. See if I can find some of those spiders, eh? All right. Yeah, so what I was going to show you was something that I shared on my Facebook page the other day. And if you do want to follow me on social media, when I find something interesting, I share it. So head across and you can like my Facebook page and make sure you hit the little, whatever it is these days on Facebook to get notifications. Because what I have noticed is no one seems to see when I upload anything unless you're a regular commenter, right? So you could like the page, and if you're not keeping an eye on things, you will not see stuff that I post. So make sure that you go across there. So Instagram and Facebook, I'm very active on. Twitter, less active, and sometimes it's just a duplication. But if you're a Twitter user, I am on that as well. So you can go and check those out. Anyway, I shared this thing on my Facebook page about a guy who waited 8 years to get a photo of the International Space Station going across the moon. And this is the article that I shared. His name's Ken Lawson, Aussie photographer, and he does a lot of astrophotography. But he talks a little bit of it. This video, by the way, only goes for a minute and a half. It's on abc.net.au. It's a long link that I can't give you. But if you go to my Facebook page, it was one of the most recent posts, and it had, I don't know, several dozen shares. I think it was up to about 28 shares last time I looked. Really interesting, but talk about patience. And sometimes, people ask about getting that shot. It's like that overnight success. But, here's another one of his shots here, this guy, Ken Lawson. Absolutely great astro shots. So really cool photographer to follow anyway. It's good article. If you want to see, it's on abc.net.au. The link, as I said, is on my Facebook page. So feel free to go and check that out. But pretty impressive stuff. Yeah, I was... you know, when I see that kind of thing, I'm pretty inspired by the energy and effort someone will put into getting the shot. Even the equipment that he uses. See the big telescope that he hooks up to his camera just to get a photo. Incredible. All right. Rick says, it comes up in my feed. Okay, yeah. So if you're a person that likes and comments regularly on my Facebook page, you'll probably see my stuff on your feed relatively often. But if you're not a person that hangs out on Facebook very much, sometimes it can not work that well. All right, so let's jump into having a look at the challenges. One of the things that we started doing in the VIP group was a new challenge, which was an editing challenge. And I must admit, I forgot to upload it at the same time I uploaded the VIP challenge. I thought I'd done it for some reason because I uploaded my RAW file to Dropbox for you to download. And then, for whatever reason, I forgot to put the link into the VIP group. So, sorry about that. However, it went up a week ago, and it gave some people time to edit the image. And the whole idea of the editing challenge is I upload a RAW file, and you edit it the way that you want to edit it. And in the comments, if you can, leave a little bit about how you edit it and what you did, because that way each VIP can learn off of each other. Now, the image that I uploaded was this one here. Now, this is not the RAW file, but it is the RAW file. This is completely unedited. I just exported out of Lightroom as a JPEG to upload it in the album so I can show you what it looks like. And then I give them an upload link or download link to actually get a hold of the RAW file. And so VIPs have access to this, and it's a bit of fun. This is a photo that I took some time ago in Sydney. It's very difficult to get this shot now because if you look down this bottom right-hand corner, it is actually filled up now with a ferry wharf because they extended the ferry wharf here. So the likelihood of getting this shot like this now is slim to none because of that, unfortunately. And the ferry wharf, I often thought, geez, I can just go on the ferry wharf and take the shot. The problem with the ferry wharf is it's floating, so it's moving. Anyway, so I'll take you through some of the edits and see how people went. So here we go. This one was Tim Trim. He edited this in Capture Pro 112. Keystone correction to straighten the verticals on the bridge because, of course, I had pointed my wide-angle lens up, so that means everything is going to lean in. Crop and straighten, cloned out the last bit of the fence pillar on the bottom to get rid of that. Set base correction characteristic to linear. Cooled the temp, as you can see. It's got a bit of a purple tint as well. Increased the brightness and saturation, which is like vibrance for Lightroom users. Bit of shadow recovery, adjusted black point. So did a fair bit there. And color grade, shadows slightly to blue, midtones, highlights slightly to orange. Beautiful, looks nice. I like it. Yeah, nice. Brian didn't leave any description of what he did, but he sort of cropped it into a bit more of a pano and left the colors a little bit more natural. I like it. And the lights actually are pretty warm down here. As you can see how white they are on the top of the bridge. It's pretty accurate colours there. This one here is Greg West. Quick exposure and keystone tweaks in Capture One. Exported to Photoshop. Removed the features on the bottom. So got rid of the fence as well on the bottom left. Little sunlight added to highlights, etc. Nice. Renthil and cropped Topaz Studio Dynamic Contrast Boost Contour Aware Filter. Remove the railing left side. So everyone's got rid of the railing. Didn't want the railing. I think I left the railing in my original shot. Here's one with the railing. Stephen Carter decided to leave the railing in. And pretty much looks like the original crop. Darken the handrail buildings on the right shore and brighten the Opera House. Nice. Looks good. Matt Sandquist, some tweaks, removing the first pillar. So got rid of that first pillar. Beautiful. Izzy's gone for a black and white on Lightroom Mobile. That looks good. Haven't seen it in black and white. I don't often experiment with black and white, so it's pretty good. Excellent. All right. Good job, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. And I will upload another RAW file and give you another couple of weeks to play around with it. I'll pick something else. See what I've got. I'll have a look and see what I've got. If you've got any images of mine that you've seen that you would like me to upload the RAW file of, for you to play with. Let me know and I'll put it in there. And that way you can have a go at whatever raw file you like. I'm okay with that. Alrighty. Chance, am I late? Only a little bit, but the good thing with YouTube is it records it so you can watch it later. No big deal. Okay, so the other challenge that we do is the one the boss picks winners for, and then the winner picks the next theme. So let's jump back into our albums, and I'll share that with you in a second. Okay. All right. So now this theme is forms of water, and this was picked by the previous challenge winner, which was Brian Willett. So he picked forms of water as the theme. And then everybody gets to participate and upload their interpretation of forms of water. Now, the reason why Brian did it, which I thought was great, was because he thought, well, it could mean liquid, it could be gas, it could be ice, and that means that everybody everywhere in the world had an opportunity to create an image with forms of water. So let's take a look at the forms of water that we've got. Alrighty, so here we have one from Rob Roy, taken looking into the Columbia River Gorge. Many famous falls down this tract, one of the first days with sun. So that's obviously not been great weather. You can see a little bit of snow on the mountains there, so it's probably nice and cool. Beautiful spot. Alright, next one. Rob Roy, Bridal Veil Falls down the Columbia River. Beautiful, sun making a comeback. Yeah, nice light at the back of the image there, beautiful. Stephen Algie, Canoe Pool, Newcastle Beach, some overflow from the large swell. Beautiful, 2 exposures blended. Yeah, we did have a lot of large swell after some of those storms up north. Steve Algie, Newcastle Beach rock pool, getting smashed by the large swell. Good stuff. All right. Michael Healy, Biemunga. Hopefully I'm getting this right. Biemunga Cultural Area, waterfall upstream from here. However, this morning it was a mere trickle. Beautiful. Therese Elsie at the car wash. Something different, isn't it? Very thinking out of the box. Therese Elsie. Splish Splash. Seagull having a drink. Therese Elsie. Raindrops on the agave plant. Agave plant? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a pretty cool shot. Stephen Cars, rocks unyielding in the waves. Hope Beach, near his house there. Matt's working weekend again, so I had a 4-hour window on Sunday to get some waterish photos. I have some more ideas, but I'm not sure how time to fix them before Friday. Beautiful shot of a little cascade. Michael Hilly, creek in the Gardenia Rainforest Walk. Beautiful looking spot. I love rainforests. Michael again, Biemunga Cultural Area. What a difference a week and some decent rainfall makes. Beautiful. He said, back when I was a culturally ignorant young fellow, we would come here for picnics and slide down the waterfall into the pool below. Would have been fun as a kid. Renthelen, water shaped the beach sand and moved shells around. Very creative. Alrighty, so that's all the entries. So, the runner-up, the honourable mention, and these are picked by the boss. And she's picked these for you. So the honourable mention is this one here, Michael Healy. Well done. You're the runner-up for your Biemunga Cultural Waterfall area. And the winner of the VIB Challenge, as chosen by the boss, is Therese Elsie with this one here. Raindrops on the agave. I don't know how to pronounce it. So there you go. So well done to Therese and Michael. And of course, well done to all of the VIPs that participated, because that's what it is all about, is participating. But Therese, you get to choose the next theme. So the next VIP challenge theme, and you need to send that through to me via Messenger on the Facebook group or by email, whatever's easy for you, in the next 48 hours, if you could please, and I will get the next theme up and running. So well done to everybody who entered, and thank you for contributing, because that's what makes the VIP group amazing, is all the people that are constantly involved and sharing photos and The challenges are one thing, but inside the group, there's a lot of sharing going on. I'll just quickly show you. So if you want to become a VIP, here's what we're sort of up to in here. So we have the challenges. But then you see people sharing their images in here. That was one of Izzy's beautiful shot there. Tim, this is cool, this one. Tim was going down where there's a huge waterfall and discovered this. I think they were using a drone first, but discovered the rock face had this person's face in it. This, it looks like the face of an old man. Challenges are in here. Yeah, lots of just chit chatter. We share things in here. Some different photos. Beautiful photo there from Izzy, etc. So, and the VIPs also get to see some of the images that I take before they go public as well. So, as you can see, lots of different things going on here. Lots of images, lots of banter. People that need help can ask for help. I can share their images for ideas, tips. We've got an image critique section if you want your images critiqued, etc. But yeah, a lot of fun. So there you go. That's what's going on in the VIP group. So head to patreon.com/on3legs if you want to find out more about the VIP. And you can become a VIP if you'd like. All right, let's have a quick look at the chat box. See what's going on. Rick says, guys have done inspiring work with the images, adjustments and processing. Awesome. Yeah, they have. The Newcastle Buzz Beaver says, the Newcastle minimalistic image is amazing, fine art. Yeah, it was. All very good. Therese says, woohoo. Good on you, Therese. Well done. Handy parts on the Spirit of Tasmania for our 7-week holiday. See you soon, Ben, around the first week of May. Yeah, awesome. We'll see you at Cradle around then. Matt, so 7 weeks around Tassie. That would be amazing. I'm jealous. I am planning to go down there again. Well, in fact, after Cradle Mountain, I'm going to be doing a bit of a recce in another region of Tassie. I've got a few extra days booked. I'm going to go and check out another area. And I am talking to Michael about what other workshops we can run in 2020. Because I think he's pretty much got everything organised for this year. But for 2020 in another area of Tassie. That'll be a lot of fun. Matt says, nice, Therese. Paul says, nice shots, well done, Therese. Mike Hilly says, congrats, Therese. Thanks to Cole. Yeah, thanks to the boss for doing the judging. It's her birthday yesterday as well. Everyone would have noticed. Okay. So let's now jump into the image critique. So I've got 2 images to check out this week. Let's take a quick look at those images. Just getting Lightroom wound up. Alrighty. Funny noises coming from my dog. My pup Banjo is just down there sleeping in his bed and he's snoring. I don't think you'll hear it, but he's down there snoring. All right. So here we go. Here's this week's images. So the first one on the left there is from, come on, camera's in front of the name, Max Van Ryn. I'm going to pronounce it, R-I-J-N, Max Van Ryn. Hopefully I've got that right. So Max has sent this one in. And it's a nice pano on the left there. And on the right is one by Therese Elsie. And I'm guessing that's from your back balcony, Therese. I've seen a few shots shared from your back balcony in different conditions. This one's with the sun rays coming through the clouds. So we'll start with Max's. Let's jump into this one here. And I'll just do a quick lights out in Lightroom so you can get a feel for his image. There we go. We'll go full screen. Now, the shortcuts to do this, by the way, on your computer, if you are a Lightroom user, and I do like to give you the odd tip, is to hit the L key twice. Okay, so hitting the L key once gives you like a faded background, and then the second time gives you a black background. And if you want to get rid of the side menus, so those side menus that take up a lot of space, you hit the Tab key. Okay, the Tab key gets rid of those menus. So there you go. And this is a great way to have a look at your images as you go through processing them. So this one here was from Max. I need to go back into Lightroom's other mode so I can see the notes. He says, after 3 times shouting the next time I'll send in some pictures for the show, I finally have the courage to do it. Yeah, don't be afraid to send images in. The one thing that I always say to anybody thinking about sending an image in for critique is everything that I do is just what I would do to improve the image. It doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong, any of that. I'm not a big believer in that. And people who know me know that. I mean, you can see all the hoo-ha going on with photography competitions at the moment. People try to win by cheating, copying people's images and doing stuff that's not very honest, let's say. And this is why I don't like competitions, because to me, photography is an art. And if you like the photo that you took, then it's a great photo. End of story. If you like taking photos at ISO 25,600 because you like the grainy look, then that's okay. I'm not going to judge you for that. What I'm here to do is to take a look at your photo and tell you what I might have done differently. And so, yeah, it's important that I share that with you, because I'm not here to judge what you're doing. I'm here just to see if I can help everybody. And I really do appreciate those of you that share your images, because it means that we can learn from each other, which is awesome. So he said this one here is stitch the photos already into a panorama in Lightroom, shot it with my go-to travel camera, which is the good old D3300. So no GFX quality here. That's all right when it comes to dynamic range and ISO handling. The name, I'm going to try and pronounce this. Dreisenhütte, something like that, near the Dreizinnen Tresema di Lavaredo, Dolomites, Italy, in summer this year. So I don't know how I've gone pronouncing that. I'm not real good at that stuff. Shot with the D3300, then the Takina 11-16, and then stitched together. So pretty amazing shot, really. Shot this image during a 2-day hike with a sleepover in the hut you see in the picture. So I'm assuming the hut's the one with all the lights on. A decent climb. I won't read that bit out. Let me have a look. Yeah, all good. Okay. It's a good shot. So let's have a look at the technical details, and then we will go through composition and post-processing. So shot at ISO 400. Now, I'm not sure why you did that, because you've got a 15-second exposure. I'm assuming you're on a tripod. A longer exposure because you're at 11 millimeters, would have still been okay. Pretty cool. You've got a shooting star over here. We'll have a look at that in a second. But it doesn't really matter, I guess. You're going to get some noise at ISO 400. It's not going to be great amounts. But I would have been tempted just to go to ISO 200 and shoot at 30 seconds, which would have been the exact same exposure. You've also got an f2.8 lens, and you've shot at f3.5. The difference between 2.8 and 3.5 with a wide-angle lens is negligible. You wouldn't notice it in this image because the foreground's not that clear. So had you have got a 2.8 and ISO maybe 100 even, or I don't know what the base ISO might be, 200 on the D3300. Maybe you could have got 25 seconds, I think. 20 seconds at ISO 200. Anyway, I mean, that's splitting hairs. It's not a big deal, but I just say from a technical point of view, always go as low as you can with the ISO. And if we just jump in, I can see a fair bit of noise in the sky. And it will reduce it, So to me, it's always important to try and make your job as easy as possible when you get your image into post-processing. And the less noise you've got, the better. Now, all of that noise, you can also see it on the rocks, is relatively simple to remove with a bit of masking, and you reduce the noise in the sky. But if you've shot at ISO 200, then you don't have to worry about trying to do that or doing it as much. So that would be my only feedback on the technical settings. 11 mil, I guess you had to, looking at it, to get the shot from where you were. I love this whole backdrop. Is amazing. The moon there is very bright, but it looks like the moon's lighting up this side here of the mountain, which is cool, isn't it? So, it's giving some backlight to things. Same over here. You can see this light on these mountains here. And, of course, here. And, I don't know what time of night this was. Or it was 9:30 p.m., but I don't know what time the sunset was. If you could have got some shots before the moon rose as well, might have been good, because it is quite distracting, that moon there. I would be tempted, and if we jump into the develop module, I would be tempted to crop it out because it's so far off to the left of the image that it almost doesn't make sense. And I can see you sort of, yeah. I would be tempted to bring my crop in to really feature the main key things of this shot. Let's see. Something, maybe not that extreme, because I've really cropped it. I'd like to keep that building where you sort of had it, which is hard with that moon, isn't it? Bit of a challenge. Maybe we need to include more. And you'd have to go to some content-aware fill or something afterwards. Let's try something like that. I'm just going to do a real dodgy repair here, because it's probably not going to like it, because we need Photoshop to do some content-aware, but sometimes Lightroom gets it right. It's trying to. It's not doing a great job. So it's just kept it white there. Why is it doing that? Doesn't like it at all. It's not going to do it because there's no image there. It's not going to do it. We'd have to do it in Photoshop. But I would fill that in with something. That'd be very easy to content-aware fill in Photoshop. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So Max is here. He said base is 100. Went for 400 because of the stitched pano, and I didn't want star trails. 8 times 2 minutes was a little too much for me. Yeah, fair enough. That makes complete sense. Yeah. So I would be tempted. I don't know if you've got Photoshop. I would be very tempted to crop this a little bit more to the left, like so, and use content-aware fill. The moon now is in a position that makes more sense. And you could easily use content-aware fill to fix that. I might be able to do it in here. If I did clone. Let's see what I can do. It's not going to let me do it because the doesn't work like Photoshop for that. I've never tried doing that before, but there you go. What if I use heal? Will it work in heal? Let's try. Can I heal it? Let's see if it'll heal. We're learning as we go here. Let's see what it does. No, just doesn't like it because there's no pixels there. So you'd have to do that in Photoshop. You could definitely content-aware fill that in Photoshop and not notice anything had been done. So that would be, I would crop it more like that. It's a beautiful shot. Maybe even a little bit wider. You could just content-aware fill those corners in. Beautiful colour still over here. Is it not long after sunset? Is that what's out? I don't know what time sunset would have been, but it looks great. So from that perspective, looks good. Yeah, gradient to black will work. Yeah, you could do lots of different things to fill these corners in. But I would make it slightly bigger like this. And this is something to also think about when you're taking the photos, is sometimes maybe take extras to so you've got plenty of room to play with, or make sure that when you compose with things in a position that's going to make your life easy. That crop still works, but for me, I just find that a little too close to the edge. The original crop was really much closer. And if you look at the rule of thirds, we've got these two dolomanites, or whatever they're called. But this hut's not quite on there, and I'd like to make it so it's also on an intersection. And to do that, you really need to just make it that bit bigger to get that in. That's all. But otherwise, really nice. So let's forget cropping like that for now because of the way the edges are, and let's just try and find something that will work like that. There we go. That'll do for now. Now the other thing is, because of the balance of light, we've got this beautiful light here on the side, and this is so dark. My brain wants to lighten it up a bit, so I would be tempted to try and just bring the shadows up a bit on the front of these mountains. The data's there. I don't know what that is there. It looks really weird. If it's a car driving down a hill, maybe. So I would definitely get rid of that. Let's heal that out. So I would get rid of that. Looks like a car driving down the road. There we go. And then you'll see things like this here. Once you zoom in, I can see there's been a plane flying. So you can see this dot of these lights. Now, up to you whether you keep them in or not. I tend to get rid of them unless they're really quite cool. And on a sky like this, very easy to heal those out in Lightroom. Lightroom does a great job of healing things like that out. You do have a shooting star over here, which is very cool. And another one over here. Look at that. I would be... Oh, that might be a plane. But this is definitely a shooting star, I would say. And I would be tempted to even make that longer and put something like clone something. You'd have to do in Photoshop. Up to you, but that's the sort of thing I would do just for a bit of fun. There's another car over here that I find a bit distracting. Headlights or some lights on something. So just get rid of them. Heal them out. Another little light down here. So I just get rid of anything like that. This could be lights or it could be hot pixels too. When you do several long exposures, you will get hot pixels. So just check around a little bit. If you get hot pixels, then you can sort of get rid of them. And these, I'm not sure if they are. Usually they're red or green. It's just your sensor getting hot from taking long exposures. The other lights are tents from other hikers. Okay. But if you find things like that distracting, which I do, I just remove them. I'm going to just settle that moon down a bit with a radial filter. I'm finding it a bit overwhelming. So I'm just going to put that over here. You can see the last change I made was to warm something up. So let's just get rid of that saturation. It's hard to see. It's behind my camera. So let's do that. And then we're just going to invert it. Invert the radial filter. So we're just affecting inside the radial. And I'm just going to drop the highlights down just a tad in there. Maybe the exposure a bit as well. We'll just make it a bit bigger so it's not as obvious. And we'll just feather it out a bit more. Just to settle the moon down, just a tad. It's very in your face. That's a bit better. And then these mountains, I would come in and just... I'm not sure yet what's going to be the best way, but maybe we'll try some radial filters in there. See if we can... Let's just go back to... I'm trying to just see behind my camera. There we go. Get rid of the saturation. Invert it. And just see if we can lift the shadows up. Just in these areas. A little bit. And maybe even the exposure. Just a tad. Just a little bit. Okay, and then you can sort of reshape these to whatever you want. I love radial filters. This is to me like the old dodging and burning, you know. So in the old days, when we used to dodge and burn things in the darkroom. This is sort of how it happened, you know. So we just can do this. I'm doing this pretty roughly, by the way, but you can sort of get a feel for what it is I'm doing. You can sort of just move things around a bit like so. I'm just right clicking to duplicate, by the way. Nothing too crazy. I'll do a different one for there because of what's going on there. Let's just duplicate that again. Bring it down here. And I'm just going to cool that down a bit. The warmth from those lights is throwing a color cast. I'm just going to bring that exposure back on that one just slightly. All right. Now there's something going on here. Now that looks like it is a reflection on your lens. See that? I didn't see that before. There's something there too. Is it? Oh, that's rocks. That definitely looks like a reflection of light off your lens. So let's just heal that. Let's just come over here. So you're starting to get a bit of a feel for what you can do. That might be a bit of a rough repair from Lightroom. Let's see what it does. Yeah, we'll accept that for now. I would do that in Photoshop. Okay, let's just give you a bit of a before and after to see the difference now of how we've sort of brought this to life. And it's a big file, so it's going to take a little bit. Come on, give me my before and after. Nope, it's unhappy. Come on, Lightroom. Let's play. I'm getting the spinny wheel of death. There we go. It's just thinking. The coloured wheel of thinking. At least it doesn't crash these days. So that was before. You can sort of see the lights in the mountains that are a bit distracting. Up here, over here. It's quite dark. It's a bit imbalanced light-wise. And after, let's just, come on, Lightroom. It's a big file. There we go. So after, it's a little bit more balanced. So there's still other things you can do, which I would do. Yeah, this is a big file. Come on, Lightroom. You can do it. Here we go. So the other thing you could do is just drop these blacks down a bit. Now that I've made those adjustments, I would give it a little bit of vibrance for the colour. There's some beautiful colour in the sky back here. And I would probably, now looking at it, just see if I could do something with this little fella down here. And let's use another radial filter on the house. Let's get rid of the colour out of it. Let's see if we can just increase the clarity in there, dehaze it a little bit. It'll just make it stand out. I'm going to reduce the highlights just a tad, but I'm going to increase the shadows just to make it stand out a little bit. Maybe the exposure a tad around the house. Give it a bit of a light. There we go. That looks pretty cool. Maybe we can increase the exposure overall. Not too much. Just a tad. Yeah. Really good shot. Now what I am noticing when I get in close, and you've got to watch this at night, or any time you've got light, like when the moon's behind something, you will get a bit of fringing. So it's not too bad here. It's pretty good actually. And that noise, I would reduce that noise in Photoshop. So I'd put it into Photoshop, I'd create a second layer, and I would do a noise reduction. I'd then mask through my noise reduced sky. Now the challenge with doing that is you will soften these stars up. You just got to be mindful of that. But on a photo of this size, I don't think it's going to matter too much. It looks really nice. I would be tempted to maybe just warm it up just a tad, white balance wise. Try and get the whites to be white. That looks a bit better. So I might have to just go to this other radial filter down over this house and just cool it down a tad because it's very warm. Just to try and make it balanced a bit better. There we go. And once again, this is where white balance in an image can be quite difficult. You can see over this corner here still quite warm. So you might want to do something there as well. Let's just put a radial filter over that for a second. I'll just get rid of all this colour again. And I'm going to, let's just rotate this like so, put it right into the corner and just change the color balance slightly on that to cool it down. So this here needs to be inverted. This here seems to have a different sort of color balance to the rest of the image. So I'm just sort of fixing that up, and I might even just bump the exposure up in this corner a tad as well, just so it brings it to life. There we go, because it's got the moon shining on it. There we go. All right, let's see if we can do a before and after again, because this is a big image. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Reset the highlights. What a buffet. There we go. Because that's the highlight keys. The reset highlight key is actually next to the L key, and I did it without looking. I should use my Wacom tablet. Alrighty. So this one here is before. Now, if you can sort of feel, I mean, it's just an amazing location. and a fantastic shot, Max. Fantastic shot. Like, I would be super proud if I got this shot. Beautiful shot. Great time of night to be doing it. But for me, the difference between, you know, what is a good shot and something that is just a great looking shot is just a little bit of editing. And you may not like all of this here on the front. Maybe we could, you could go, okay, well, let's settle all that down a bit. So you can go through and you can decide if you want to settle all this down. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to select that radial filter here. You just go in and just, change that, change the feather, just do a few other bits and pieces. And as you go through, you can sort of just adjust things to whatever you want. Just up to you. But I feel that sometimes, and the other thing is I like to do it, I process an image, and then I typically come back the day after. Now, the other way that I like to do dodging and burning is grab a brush, and actually I'll reset the shadows. Just put your exposure up about 1.5 stops, something like that. Grab a brush, and then just brush on some stuff, like so, and see, sort of see what you end up with. Went over that line there, get rid of that. So if these rocks, for example, you want to get these to be a little bit more, have I got auto mask on? No. I need auto mask, because what happens if you don't have auto mask on, you'll go over the edges. So, which I haven't in this case, but I'm pretty close to it. But auto mask will find the edges of these pretty easily because of the contrast. And if you want to get these to stand out just that little bit more, and this is a fiddly thing to do, I'm using my mouse. I should grab my tablet, my Wacom. But as you can see, you can sort of just go around the edges of this. I won't do it too perfectly. And if you just tick auto mask, and then I've hit 0. 0 is giving me this view so I can see what I have and haven't masked. Now, not 0, sorry, O. The letter O on your keyboard makes it red, so I can see where I've painted the red. Now you'll see that as I change the exposure, I'm actually changing, what I see of the rocks. The other thing is I can just do the shadows on those rocks, for example, or increase the whites. And then if there's anywhere, now what I like to do is put the exposure right up. If there's anywhere that looks odd, then just click your Alt key with the brush and just go around and get rid of anything that looks a bit odd. Okay, so this is my eraser. So if it doesn't look good, and then just bring your exposure back to something that's nice. Because it's dark, you know, and it is quite light behind it, it's okay. This camera, by the way, Max, is doing a great job with handling the dynamic range. So those Takeda lenses, by the way, are pretty good. So you can sort of see the difference now. I've got that beautiful moonlight hitting the side of the rocks there now, and I didn't have that before. So if I just get out of that brush, you know, if we do a before and after, let's go to full screen and we'll go to lights out again. If I do a before and an after, look at the difference. Okay, so we're just starting to capture things. I still would need to fix some things. There's still some areas that are too light. There's something going on up there with some light that I need to get rid of. There's some spots that have just got weird highlights I've still got to get rid of. Yeah. So, you know, you could just... I could spend hours on an image like this. This is a beautiful image and such a good job. I don't even know what time it is. How are we going for time? We're pretty much out of time, so I'm going to get out of this one. What a top image. What a top image, mate. You should be really proud of that image, and thank you for letting me critique it on the show. Really good image. So, what does the note say? So, funny you say that as my final edit was almost exactly like yours. Highlighted the Milky Way above the right rocks, but furthermore, nothing else. Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but to me, it's just there's so many beautiful features that you want to bring out in an image like this. And like I said, I would try not to crop it in too much to get the crop. I would crop it bigger than what you've got because of the photo, you could use auto content aware fill in Photoshop and it will do a really good job of filling in the corners. So, I mean, that's a magnificent shot. Really nice shot. Makes me want to go there. Beautiful shot. All right, so the second image we have, I'm not going to have much time for, Therese. Sorry about that, Therese. We'll jump into that. Let's see. Let's jump into Therese. It has done a shot off her back balcony. Just going to flip over to that now so you can see of these beautiful sun rays coming through the clouds. And look, the temptation is, like yesterday, we had a beautiful sunrise yesterday, a sunset rather. I could have shot that off my back balcony, but getting a good composition can be difficult. And the problem with a shot like this, whilst it's a beautiful shot, the sun rays, I find that this down here with the power lines and everything is just a bit, there's not enough of it if you're going to include it, and there's too little of it for me to get my head around it. And this is a challenge, you know, I see a lot of people taking photos obviously from their houses, from their windows, balconies, backyards, front yards, or maybe in their street. And sometimes in context it can really work, but my brain really wants to see what's down below. And you know, you could use the suburbia as a feature. So I wouldn't be afraid to do that. I mean, what a beautiful location you've got. I can actually see a bit of water through there, Therese. I'm jealous. So don't be afraid to do that. The other thing which you can do is just shoot the sky. You know, just shoot straight up at the sky, and you know, to do that, you could literally just point a lens up at the sky and forget all of this because of the patterns up here. It would make sense. Now, from a technical point of view, shot at ISO 100, 32mm f/20, 1/25 of a second. I probably would have gone to a smaller aperture. You can see. You know, at f/20, depending on the lens you're using, what lens are you using? 18 to 300, yeah, you would definitely have a bit of diffraction going on with that lens. So with your apertures, just drop them down a little bit. You know, try something like this where you've not got any foreground close by. You'll be fine with something like f11 or f13. You'll get a sharper shot. You did crop more off down the bottom, yeah. I think, for me, I would have been tempted to include the bottom in my composition and brought the bottom up. So, as you can see, I can bring the shadows up but that's affecting my highlights at the top. I would, maybe with a gradient filter even, just do something to bring the bottom to life. You can see that Ben uses orange in his gradient filters a fair bit. That's how you get that nice warm colour, by the way, in your sunrise or sunset. And we could almost do a range mask here if you haven't done this before. Luminance range mask. I'm going to get rid of all the stuff. You can see the difference in how it gets rid of that funny haloing above the horizon. That's because I'm telling the range mask not to mask off anything that's not darker. So when I move, so I've just hit my O key again to show you that. When I move my exposure now, you can see that it's got a definite masking point. Okay, you got to be careful not to go too crazy because it will, it will show you weird stuff. But it allows me just to increase the shadows down there, which means that overall on my image, I can reduce those shadows back down and stop that weird effect that it was doing. For the sky, you've got a lot of noise in the sky. That's difficult. It's always difficult with files not to get that noise in the sky. I would be tempted to dehaze the sky. So once again, grab a gradient filter in Lightroom. I'm going to come down. I'm going to leave the orange in there, actually. Let's play around with that. So I'll do a range mask luminance once again. This time I'm going to get rid of all the dark stuff from the bottom. Something like that. And maybe dehaze using this mask. Dehaze, a bit of clarity. Reduce the blacks a bit. You can do all sorts of stuff. Let's desaturate this colour a fair bit. Now, by the way, what I do with this colour, to put colour into your shots, if I desaturate it all the way, then we end up there. I can put just a little bit of orange in, for example. You can, if you hold down the optional Alt key, it gives you the colour. Is it that one? Or is it the function key or command key maybe on that Mac? I can't remember now. But you can get the full colour. I mean, come on, do it for me, Mac. It's having a hysteria. But anyway, it shows you the full saturated colour without you having to have it full saturated as you pick your colours. And then you can sort of then desaturate things a little bit, just to brings a little bit of colour in. You can see I didn't put much in. I'm going to just reduce that dehaze a bit. But your focus looks like it might actually be on the foreground, not on the background. And there's a lot of noise in that picture. So that's the other thing. With noise, you can remove it inside of Lightroom, but it never does a great job. So just be mindful of that. I'll do it in here for now, just so you can sort of get a picture. The other thing is you've got this blown highlight up here. So if I, on the histogram, I can see to the right. Now I can reduce that, but the data's gone. Okay, so I can reduce the overall exposure to get rid of that. But the data right there is gone. And this is another issue with shooting the sky. So the only way to avoid that is to really watch your highlights when you're shooting and underexpose. So the good thing about that, especially if you're handheld, is it'll make your shutter speed faster. So if you use your exposure comp and you bring down the exposure comp, then you'll find that you'll be able to have less risk of blown highlights. That there is pure white. That's why it goes red. So when you click this over here, or hover over the top of your, over here on the right, on top of your histogram, you get these highlight warnings. You can do this on your camera as well with most cameras to show you where your picture's blown out. But these pixels are pure white, and no matter what you do, you can't recover them. Even if you bring the exposure right down, if I zoom in there, they're still just white squares that are dark. So it's a very difficult thing to, unfortunately, waterfalls and skies, very difficult thing to get away with. But I can see why you shot this. I would be tempted, if you've got a nice location down here somewhere by the water, if you see something like this, just go and find an interesting foreground, or just shoot the sky, or include more of this, because I think by not having this. The other thing, when you're cropping, it's see this over here? Just cropping that a little bit more just to get rid of that distraction. And you can see my editing, I've just bringing the shadows up a little bit. It's not a great file for me to edit because of the size of it. It's a JPEG, but with your RAW file, you'll be able to do a lot more with this. But because of the dynamic range, there's actually a lot of dynamic range in this picture. So very dark down here, very light up here. I love the sky though. I love interesting skies, and to see these sun rays coming through is awesome. But that would be my my feedback for you. Is just watch your exposures and underexpose. You know, last week I showed, or the last Pixel Chatter, I showed everyone a picture that I took. Where did I take it? I'm trying to remember where I took it now. I was in Cathedral Rocks National Park. And I showed you how dark a picture could be. So this is typically how I underexpose an image, because I don't want my highlights to be blown. So if you have a look over here, I have taken this shot for the highlights. If I go into the develop module and I click that right hand thing, you can see there's no red. So this is my raw file before I've even touched it. But you can see how close my highlights are to blowing up over here, and everything's bunched to the left. The problem is when you look at this in your screen on the back of your camera, you're going to go, my God, that looks too dark. But as soon as you bring it into something like Lightroom and you start increasing things, now we're going to blow that out because of the way that I'm doing this, all the detail's still there. So this way you've got all the detail and you can then adjust things accordingly to, you know, if you want to get rid of your blown highlights, etc. But you've got all of your detail. And this is out of my D850, by the way, this file. Gives you an idea of what you can do. So all the details there. Give it a bit more contrast, some black, some vibrance, some saturation, whatever. And now, you know, that photo that was really dark before, you can see what you can save out of it. You can do a lot with a dark file. So don't be afraid to underexpose. And Teresa's saying that she wish I'd set the raw file now. Yeah, that's all right. You know, maybe the raw file has it's okay in the raw file. I'm not sure. This is the challenge with using JPEGs, is it's not a great way for me sometimes to adjust things. But from a composition, I think from a composition point of view, you could have include more of the foreground or get rid of it completely. In some instances, otherwise it just looks like you're in a position where you couldn't get rid of it and you've had to include some. To me, that's, you know, always better to get rid of it. Once again, it's only my opinion. So, you know, it's a great sky and you've captured it. And sometimes that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just getting out there. Alrighty. Shane says, great photo. I don't know which one that was to. Auxilio 66 box says, nice sky. It's obviously yours. Boz Beaver says, it's Max. Teresa did some God Ray editing last week. Manually dodge and burn in Photoshop did the trick. Yeah, sometimes that's another thing, whether it's with skies or with waterfalls. Dodging and burning can really bring the image to life. So if I just jump back into that very quickly, I'll show you what I mean. Let's jump back across. And you can do this with any photo, by the way. If you want to bring out detail in something, let me just jump back into Teresa's photo real quickly. Teresa's, there we go. Bring that back up on screen. Now I'll grab my pen for my Wacom because this is the easiest way to do it, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Here we go. So if you go into develop and you grab a brush, you bring exposure down on that brush to about -2, like so. Just set everything else to 0. I'll get rid of the color, like so. And then what you can do is, you know, with the size, you see my size is pretty small. It's at 2. I'm going to bring the feather down to about 50, bring the flow down to somewhere like about 20, get rid of auto mask, and see where these rays are. You can actually go through and do a bit of editing, and you just sort of draw along them, and it can make them really stand out. If you do the same thing on waterfalls, it can really make the detail stand out. So I can see my computer struggling with that. Just let it catch up. But by following these ray lines with that pen, you can see that I can make it a bit more defined as well, which is a great trick. And it's something that I learned off another photographer for editing waterfalls. Definitely a good trick. So, don't be afraid to try different things with your editing as well, because if it doesn't work out, a good thing with Lightroom and Photoshop is you can always undo it. Just watching my dog down here. I don't want to run over his tail. There we go. That would not be good with the wheel of the chair. Alrighty, well that's it for this week's Pixel Chatter. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you to those of you that sent in the images. I really do appreciate it. Without the images, we wouldn't have a show, right? So thanks so much for shooting those images in, and hopefully you learnt something out of that. To me, I mean, most captures are really good, right? Everyone gets good photos. A lot of people shoot good photos, but I think the difference comes down to the post-processing in a lot of cases. So when you see a photo go viral on the internet, typically it's because it's had the post-processing makes it look amazing, and it just is an amazing photo. So quite often that is the key is, learn how to post-process so you can get those amazing looks happening in your photo. All right, I've gone well over time today. Sorry about that. This is the joys of live, isn't it? Sometimes I got immersed in those photos. So thanks for sending those in. In particular, Max's there. I love that photo. And a few other, like a little bit of troubleshooting at the beginning. I think it took a few minutes, but that's all right. All right. So you're welcome, Trees. You have to learn Photoshop. Yeah, Photoshop's really good. It just adds that little bit of extra pizzazz to what you do. Rick says, have a great weekend, everyone. And Phil, for the residents of the Pilbara under threat from Cat 4 cyclone Veronica. Yeah, about to smash into Port Hedland and surrounding areas. I wouldn't want to be up there. I've got some clients up there, so I hope they've battened down the hatches. Thanks, Brian. Brian says, thank you to those that submitted your images. George says, see ya. See ya, George Judkins. There was a question there. What's a good f-stop for early sunrise with strong colour? Very difficult, but I try and shoot around about f9 to f13 in most cases, depending on the lens. All right, gang. Thanks again. Have a great weekend. Get out there and take some photos. If you haven't already, head over and like my Facebook page, my Instagram, and keep in touch over there. And go to my website, which is on3legs.com, and make sure you're on my email list to hear about the upcoming workshops that I am planning. All right, until next time, get out there, take some photos. See ya.